by 113.7 billion Ghana cedis.
Na Edom Kuma womo eba no dani ono soso edina no atumbi no chese wo hwe media budget review ya o mai photo samfo na no de ekoto o mai Ghana animu a enema bebre na womu a etosi ya aban na edi twa ntroche Ghana fo.
Claiming this as a proof of some unique NDC progress is misleading. Several factors have contributed to the city's rise.
Sanso ena openye kesi a waben e osikasam ho totoye mu Dr. Richmond atua hene ede etu edwa eye kokobo a omei sika krabia batan ede magana for womo a sabio amanisika abedi womo ho a womo atena so no wose enye subampa.
Carry meters as a Huasama Governor actual release Akan MTOs, DEMS, EPS.
Na yebebo hwi akoboko na nea ekoso ho no yede eho amanebo ababeto monim sanso na Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana COPEC wo so dia todwa ese osana abosome yi emu no ye na wotwe a edikan no nyade a niema ye petrol ebo emanesesa no sansa kra no yebe hunu no ye bosome yi emu wei ene senkan hodo na awie yabobo ni nyina no esinkonwa ede ebesomo
na enyumeko ya daruma MTN everywhere you go nipa tuni na ya woko na nimo onko na chi enti MTN brano omo satra wo mo ne yankita wudie enhyehyɛ ye ne dwumadie nim na de abani se wiase akona nimu ama okuta mobile phone wohia sa wo de chip anasen behyem so betumi de aye bibia asenka chip anasen ehyemu a wo de beye eno ene ye friend seamless na MTN ewo bi enti so download my MTN app no a ebetra kwanya wo befa so ma okuta mobile phone no anye MTN na wo use na nso so wohia se o de sim ebe se wo phone no mu aye eSIM brason ne African Queen material oba ye aduane ne ye de ye hia cent no kra me ye kon do aye African Queen material ene ye de aye e besre se wukum anase obi oye aduane ma no e kire komo a aya twen yansa wo break yansa no de African Queen material aye aduane ma cent na fa ne so antisa na se fa ne so a obem ne break fast na mnamo no sense African Queen material cent ne keke e ma o men utumi de nkando kono kra bosu be di meyeye enam ne sauce no egu ho no to bayira ya chipa na se woto dokro na utwitwa quarter can slice of manzion is for I twitwa ediani gu ho na uhie sauce gu ho de na me totumu a unhia froye unhia stew unhia nkwan eye aduani mu a so de beya jollof o de beya stew de beya nkwan so a e matete ne yesronko ewo Makola opposite fire service aya bi so ba pastor ana leading supermarket ni na bi wom 0245 326180 and 0302 668357 African Queen material chawanum keke enampano no this way chocolate drink awo womunti fansusu ye na enkenya won wa ye mojo ohini nana kwame ammo mene
Mame biama kwafo Africa sebono nsame ene edom kase won ba no dane wo mrahye bedwafie eye honorable Mahama Ayariga na ode atudwa achechire mu se NDC aban beje omeyi abanwa etena so no abosumi ensomu a enie na so hwe nhyehyeye pa wo mudi gu akwamu a enei aboa amagana yesika sam ne ho totoye nyina agina yi a na chese wo mo esaba so bo papa ene ensembo na ochire mu se mampanyi John Dramani Mahama one ne photo samfo Dr. to forcing won enenam wo mo ensa so menei Ghana ekabebre ba na emene yen no eso atia ba fom kra na wo de sansemi etudwa mrahye bedwafie ebra wo muguso eya no baba ye ewo Midday budget review no emu.
Reported in the Midday report, public debt dropped by 113.7 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, the NPP left us with a debt exceeding 726.7 billion Ghana cedis. 726.7 billion cedis. Mr. Speaker, within 5 months of becoming the finance minister, Atuforsen was able to drop this debt up to 113.7 billion Ghana cedis. This is clearly unprecedented.
Na yera mama yarega side to dwache mu ese sesei wo hwe hyehye pa NDC aban edi gu akwan mu a wo mo behwe pa ese sika bi e ba beka won se wo de bedi dwuma e wo mayi mu no sebe wo mo nto sika no asawram no wo mo fa nye sebe niema eho enhia na emom no wo behwe se wo mo betoto niema yie edi sika no edi dwuma ese fata ebeboa ama so abanfa so ama o mayi enye ne abandada ne ye no ebi ene wo mo ba beye.
I could not believe it to hear that fiscal deficit shrunk from 10.7% of GDP in 2022 to 1.1% of GDP in 2025. These are measures that could not have been achieved without painful fiscal discipline. I was also impressed to see that our debt to GDP had also declined from 84% to 43.8%. Mr. Speaker, clearly I have heard my colleague and the NPP complain about lack of spending. We are not spending. Mr. Speaker, it is true that we are not spending on wasteful expenditures.
Na ne kwakra no na yura mama yarga ede etudwa se aban awiata so pa se eba empuntunwuma hodo ankasa egu fom a aban ayisikapudo 32 billion Ghana cedis se eho ene ode se sika no ebeko.
Over 28.7 billion. In the 2024 budget, the NPP spent only 28.7 billion. But in our 2025 budget, we have allocated 32.9 billion to capital expenditure. So we will spend. Mr. Speaker, we are spending on all the social intervention programs, and we have increased them. Senior high school, well taken care of. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, there is innovation in social intervention under the NPP government, who claim they are private sector oriented. They spend mostly on public sector institutions. But this year, we are spending on 60 private senior high schools.
Ene ya wuti ye eye dom kase won ba no dani honorable Mahama Ayariga Emmanuel Akoli ena William Gentu ye central form to nkrafri mashebedwafie ene bo ansemi ano bae
na media debate ya ho ewa budget
Ayariga Emmanuel Akoli ena William ano bae
ewa budget zanda afenyo marking so wani adom kuma wo emrase bedwafie wo mu wie wo mu nsem kan ye eno oba mane se wo hwe Dr. KJ Atuforsen media budget na wo de ba ye nei wo mu ye hu debate ama wo gina dom kuma anamu ede wo mu nsem a wo mu wakafa ho aba wie no a wo kama man se nyina te se budget no enda so nya wrehyimu olu nka ba kokura nim ampa wo so aka ampa ni nuane ampa budget ni mama apa abano hontoma ama abane da naked da deja atre ebo awodo a aban no mra na wo ye campaign wo share Ghana fo a emu ba kokora want me fa wo se enyoyo enyoye wo se de toso mienu enyema pinu a aban we di gbo no safo hene se waye no enyo ane na yeye eyo sona manyoku NPP aban ene yeye na wo beje ho fans ba kuni si di a ene ya aban pese ye ti ase se enya anwodin no was agina fa pempa a NPP abandada no toye.
We on this side welcome a stronger city. It eases the burden on import costs and brings some price relief to Ghanaians. However, claiming this as a proof of some unique NDC progress is misleading. Several factors have contributed to the city's rise, and they are not purely the result of fresh political journeys. A major factor is renewed investor confidence and inflows on the back of the IMF program and improved fiscal outlook, a trajectory set in motion last year. Another factor is Ghana's record high gold exports and remittances in late 2024. Mr. Speaker, Let me remind the NDC, whereas they have denied the successes of NPP in laying the foundation, they have quietly indicated that in their report to the IMF. That is why recently the IMF exposed you, that you have acknowledged that the stability you find today is as a result of the foundation laid by the Akufo-Addo government. Why did you refuse to acknowledge it in the dispatch box, but wrote a letter to the IMF to admit this?
And what's the no Osahe Alexander Afenyo Markin? What had BMD 24-hour economy no? And what's on the Ohemupa who said the Bibia Beba. Sabani Abre Pass of Peso Bien Emma Gana Fonya Bia. I'm cranking you mano and also Shimukubu. Eme Mutre. Namabube Bia Pa.
Few African cities truly operate 24/7, and Accra is nowhere near New York or Dubai. What we expect is for the government to make investment in the private sector, but there are no such signs. All they know is to focus in promoting Galamsey. Tripling daily operating hours in key sectors sounds impressive, but visibility is questionable. Ghana's economy cannot be willed into 24-hour cycle by slogan. It requires concrete capacity that currently seems lacking. There is a lack that this grand vision remains largely rhetorical, with little change on the factory floor or the farm gate beyond normal business hours. A glaring weakness of this 24-hour economic program, it is heavy reliance on financing that may never fully materialize.
Na kwakwa mu no se owefuto bi adema aban we. Oso obese pa se aban nani nko amambuo ho. Na emom de akwakoye se amanyosemu sebi otanhunu amanyosemu kwadubo ene amanyosemu atata no eya doso.
Stop hounding the Chief Justice. Stop politicizing the judiciary. Focus on a Ghana that will be attractive for all. Focus on a Ghana that all of us will be proud to be citizens of. Do not think that the power you have will last forever. The power you have is left with 3.5 years. Mr. Speaker, we have had our chance. We've made our mistakes. We've chalked successes. And we admit that we couldn't have been perfect. But the expectation is that you who said you could do it better can do it better for all to see. Mr. Speaker, that said, and without more, I would want to thank you for the opportunity granted me. And may God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you.
Dia ya tene nka e wo mrase bedwafie yi eye domkuma e wo mrase bedwafie peni oda wo ma no. Osahe Alexander Afenyo Markin. Emmanuel Akoli ena dia man boy bye.
Na opanyi a waben ebasika sem ho hwehwemu ne ehon totoye a emu baako Dr. Richmond etu ahene na ode atodwa ese omesi kakra bia Bartime Bank of Ghana ejina wasie ese ankrankra bia enam wo monsa so emasika ye mane efra manone ebedro maimu wo mo de asie obinom atena so ne ade no wo mo enya hweyi pa na no no chese ofuade Bank of Ghana governor Akan no esopa na wode atodwa chemu se wo mo a ede wo mo efore for sa ne menum no wo mo de ahwese wo mbejai esan se wo mo echewa eyade a emra eno ebedipa Dr. Tuahene ede sansemi etudwa na osan ama ato ye money transfer operators, dedicated electronic money issuers, enhanced payment service providers ene wo mo ekeka ho nyina wo mo hye Ghana yesika sem kotokuo no emu no ese obi amomode hwese adwuma a wo ye no obema nani ada honom na enhyehyeye a Bank of Ghana ede aba no wo betimi ahwe na wo mo edi so fenchem ne wo ka nyina ne se wo mo a etena sika ye mane edufra ma no ne eba omanyimu eso no kwan bi so no wo mo eye ama Ghana eba sika mane ye difri ama no ne eba omanyimu ehon hyehyeye ene ade no eya ese de ye buso no ne no ena bra Dr. Etuahene NPP kase ebo etwenkomo obo Bank of Ghana abaso pa fa enhyehyeye ahodo de agu akwan mu ehwese saa ne menyina ayosi akwan ema Ghana yesika sem ene adwade ho tutuye no ne nyina ebetimi afri honomo ne no ene ochiremu ebiu ese saa baabi a ye krasika ye disika fri amano ne eba beguo no ewo se wo mutimi hwe ehye honomo ekena eye no gidie mapase enhyehyeye pa Bank of Ghana ede begu akwan mu no eno ebeboa pa ama wo moni aku ho na fe etimi aboa ama pepepe ye akoso.
Well, what the release about my current remittances of one summer governor actual release. I can't check MTOs, DEMS, EPS, fintech banks. It's a woman. I'm doing money see some hold remittances equivalent of the dollar, a euro, near dollar. Or no more na a buyer so my crater be my count once. And the about could be the action of BR or your remittance were going to say Bank of Ghana better software be B2B MBS. Now already attach it or software near the amount of BR or your remittances because Kadia will be you who your account. Yes, I buy a whole bet you whole transaction. June Jimmy Kanjers auto $1 million, not the one with 500. I look now Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Yeah, and then almost depending on remittance. See me home, Brano. And I mean, who say Bank of Ghana for any abri.
Dr. Chiahene Asai Kasa Efa Ghana ye macroeconomic indicators no eho na no no de etu dwachemu sese o my Ghana yen ka emene ye no eso ate beso billion no oha aduasa enko no 139 billion Ghana cedis no chese ni nyina ejina hye pa aban di gu akwamu ani ama cedi na hoode no emu apagentra.
Public debt, your domestic component, which is the cedi component, and the dollar or the euro or the pound component. Indeed, a Kobase Usidi no inya holding, said the inya holding, they say 40%. It means a senka, yen cedi na inya holding. And public sector debt, a cost a foreign debt. Fortunately, because it's in Nenya Hod and Amasika, dollar more now euro no ayeketwa. The Abengina appreciation of the cedi. Cedi Nivia said ye tia and conform gra and conform to say dollar no conform. Indeed, Obetimia catcher says, Cedi 19 the public sector debt never formed by 130 billion.
Na odene nsam eba wie no eno chese se de yensi de na hoode no emu apagya na afa ye hu sese yi ahokeka e wosidi no mu no eba soropa no wo chese e wosenka hu sunsuaso no etimi omanfo tenka e wo mkotokom e wose enema ye ton no monten so ayetimi kotontosi ne nam ne momonene ne kekeka ho no esu nyina etimi tie na nka Ghana fo etenka nanso we no ebeje break akra ansa na sunsuaso no Ghana fo ehu no
Otomo okramo ba dollar no ne editu anye cedi enti senka cedi no ho de ba form anka obi a hwe senka bi a more prices be conform ye obeka me no kasai I think be April no ka kiro say ye wo league and lag ne say a check and sana currency appreciation inflation are reflecting in currency are reflecting in prices ya na a check e bi abosome mienu ne besom miensa enti bi a ye hwe free bosome mienso ekoi na ekɔ na wie ekudu bi anwotwe no ye be hunu se niema bo aba form na Bank of Ghana for no can senka say yes cedi no anya hode inflation about down there senka say prices ba from but you feel say niema ni bi wo ha ye kra be go warehouse be do sumi ni ensan na cedi no kra ba form.
Dr. Richmond Chiahene openkase basika semu pensempensemu a waben ewo mu pa nene na otiye yenua George osei enene no etwetwe nkomo yi
na ya kwaboko yanim dia kwaso oboko ama aban kra nam efisem bamba se ye no so ede dantem curfew wato adehye wo so na curfew ni sa se na ye ewia no mienu ekopem anopa no nsia dia abafoforo bio ni se mpanimfo aye na anopa no nsia kopem anwumre no nsia na ye bisa kakra se ewia no mienu kopem anopa no nsia no anye adwuma anase de na mpanimfo ye se ede nsacha ye beba bambo mu anko yi se de se na fata enu ntina mpanimfo asesem aye change your style aye na anopa no nsia kosi anwumre mo nsia yi yakwa amano so na edikan yahwe said your bambo and one some tea waboko, said your what yankasa Abdul Kadir, a yaman before Kadir, ma. Bakun for unity. What the imprint prayer can say to a bra, a chassis and one, ne pin pencil banoa in such a yabiabem.
You so Sadana, a binding soldier for Bakumba 400. Everywhere Boku area Hanma. So monitor the security and the situation in the area due to the recent repetition of killings in the area. From that very day to They are menu kasa.
Kadio.
Yes.
Aya no ama oneso ama ye kakra.
Yo Marty.
Good.
Prisa dan bedroom there menu kasa. Be aba na curfew no so a started from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. Aban any interior minister that review to 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, compliance to the curfew media, it will be done because apart from na lerugo and na Thursday na, omo can say omo engine tomorrow, but the following day no, omo comply with the curfew condition from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. Now, to say I know kasa boku ni na lerugo ina, aban asan review from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the morning. Now, the reason was that all the ahanam no see a kuyajima no see aminu kasa obi wa foma kasa ambre no na say 2 p.m. nipa no nka wanam kwan so say opofi because of curfew no. So because of that I might consider say nka omo review it due to some consultation and the regional security council say there akuya for any business omo di blanket in the area omo betimi aye adjuma ahwe omo nkwala ne ebusiafo na for the security reason there see amenu kasa yenti fie how bia but the jun say say enkosa because due to the heavy security in the area asungiaba but I don't know say in the coming days no, there will be some other due to the curfew condition which may be triggered to other chaos or confusion pertaining to that. But as of now, I know Kasaide and how Biano as we Akan Abba Idahan.
Kadio, yeah, said the Okasa who said the Ajo from Mohabiama year. And who ya attributed to review na aba curfew no mu no ana say o hia jama mema mamutiti bi ndi obe before complaint so just o mo ba ho ntina ehu aba nkrofo ama obi ampese obedi akokroko ne mranto asem biem no.
Yes, so we share the number of military omuba area hanum a very strong one because so udi agwe no mutiwa nya ya ubenya because they were actually hot. But due to the for the curfew, I think it didn't have any much impact because the curfew has been imposed on the area several times and there were still repetition of killings. But to me, my own assertion is because of the heavy security and the military in the area that has little bit restored peace in the area. But for the curfew, I see that there has been similar curfew like that, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it happened. The killings were happening in some of the areas, even in daylight. So looking at the situation now, I would say that it is because of the heavy military and security personnel in the area that has actually improved the peaceful environment in the area.
Kadin kwakwa wuko yenhwe nipa general movement and business activities yenhwe yeye no nsia no pa ekopem enwumre no nsia no no nsia anopa kopem enwumre no nsia no kire mu kakra se eye anopa no nsia ekopem enwumre no nsia ena nkrofo wo kwan se ombe wo kurom ana anopa no nsia kopem enwumre no nsia no ena obi anhye dem.
So sisi amenu kasai obiawa abontia ana se wo adwuma wo ye wa afoma ho nti sisi amenu kasai obia wo na adwuma nti ekbo anwumre 6 ana kefi no ede ehia to the following morning ana jo nyina kefi hour so anya dia obetman happy akobed na adwuma so de first ni nyina na omuye daytime se bia wo na adwuma but who monitor check time there before 6 p.m. you might be in your residence for safety because the case ritual want and there asamatu this is say amenu kasa obia wo na adwuma oye etan she said before 6 no now for 2 large months. It's an curfew hour, but I mean, I curfew time, but daytime, people are allowed to move and do their day.
Yeah, that's it. Abdul Kadir, Yaman before or Boko, and Yan Boncomoy. Now, Yane Bambo Minim before Franklin Leonard, Twankum Boiso. Franklin Mahay.
I personally do so. Come in and meet your Peter from a tearful in the area.
Then you're tearful in a Joso. Yasan saw baby. Yes, Bokons and some of the Aquacres will become Wangara Fasano, and our Kundum. Uku and Mukakra and Chobabuchi. Yakwa ni akoyen ko besie ni asanso abiachi biem krofo atradwen ya kwanya ye mfamfa so ebi se ye politically motivated enu nti amanyofo ne ntio mo hu firi ho ebi nso se ye de amanyofo aye enyeye na nanamo ye fodo mo hu agim aso dwan ho sun no sa ya no no ti bebi aduru de esoma wodo nso so religious bodies no emu mpenimfo nso so fo mo nyim anya suggestions ni ye bebre. Security analyst Franklin Leonard and so suggestion. Yeah, the back cable, the Akoso Ewo Boko once and for all, and say.
Kwame Midday say, once again, it's here, piece of tea food now. I was a Bokun and Semi, you do come Semi Odi Kankai, no, I'm for a team. But Accra met some margin is the bus security, Kwame, and far political party. And na emfa ahemfo ho and emfa so no entimen for abanbo any omoyedie any omasundue and no the campaign kane ansana sebe enti se bana say ye the politics ni tribal issues ni tiptancy framework na omemu no emfa ye nwie peyo enti no se na maybe midi kan ni say I mean, so on and I'm going to say you introduce a curfew. But curfew need a very, very, very good idea because a big creative stabilization situation around Boko area. But near medicine is the security. I was on my notice branding. Now you know drink up and crew and cafe a year to men for ye die any omobanbo eno eye a kind die ewo amemu na ye punim enti no e wo se nyimfotwum ho frim anyimfo betima chiro madwe bonini e wo se the church clergy no so betima chiro madwe but I will say the security apparatus of the country no have to stay firm and strong because only one aspect of Ghana NSC in so and confidence in other parts of Ghana begin to build. Say, ABS, say, Basabasaye, si wahana say yentimia so anontem, na say enia. That's it. You know, say Basabasaye kupio ABS, Ashanti, and now say other regions are, and also then collectively, no, civil war is beginning to give birth because Niesi Wobokono, that should be the trend. I was said everybody should be worried. Because we can say, yeah, we don't have to worry about external tourism. Yeah, we are grooming our own tourism. And it's beginning from political influence, and influence, clergy influence, clergy opinions, general public opinion. I require security apparatus, intimate omnino, emrano, see, and I will say, whether we are or hini, and now say we are clergy. And now say we are citizens, without the fear of political disadvantage. And that is the mechanism. I will say on mine, baby, I be to see any the door because any pass Romonqua and Qualan to me in school. And to know see to me a bedroom paper said, whether a young from Semobil, and young so from Semobil, but a your minor security is at stake. And you know, say why you bet a money bet you say if you are promoting and not say you are leading, say two without the fear of political disadvantage, no, it may be 2 years. I think that ain't me escalate and a best serving as a deterrent to other potential Betting are a confident that in a bit no. They see a bit in your book so a day and fat one a day foot. I'm imagining Accra.
Na political commentators been so as I just say. Boku akwakoye asase tambia ena de dawre aba eya ne na jambom enti kan susu de ne se de yetie ya man bofo Abdul Kadir ewie ya ansa ne no bekasa wo ba mane se wo hwe military for ba yi eno so aboa kwan bi so ama asomdwe peace aba ho yi a esusu ne sa den na sa asase no we se ya media wo mo ko hu o manage na yemfanye military base na strafo enko we de obi ade abiem o manage de aye o mane ade na asamfa na asamonko
Kwame efa bisuru kameno mo yadwen efa bisuru amenu mo nyadwen ade ba ko se bi kan hwene se yeba yemanran semu a efa ensase ho a government dinahin because so for men to say abrochia the entire land in any BDA dispensation it goes through government entity. So you bet me you're very disciplined because your lands commission you were even though assassin belong to a particular chieftaincy clan and now say Ankara Prebidiano. At the same time, so the lands commission also have a key interest even in the development, and as what kind of development that needs to be established in that area, they should have a key interest. But I am not quite say a bar in Sassani I am for someone. A buying to me funny whom remove the bread because of one thing, one political advantage or disadvantage. The other part as soon as say I don't know then a bar for year ABR, a party way interest and a party way interest. In Tiama, a buying to me is not branding. And Cafe ABR, it in something number woman in Milano. Digital white, you can't convert everything to this digitalization. And before, on you probably to me, every association move, they need to satisfy certain area. But I say, Mina Mayon, Sasi, we are Mina Nano, the Niame, and the Wasser Yamiti. And the disadvantage is more of the aspect of Omoba, even in Ghana, to invest even in housing, is one of the major problems. You need a very good investment because if you are a back, on you to me, Maton, a Busha penny said, there be over and a Busha and the Yampene. In Tassabaku, you bet Matoma, Lipa Bay 2 or 3 or 4. The one share your vigilante in Saint until it goes to tell how much energy I was applying 80 meeting room. Now say ABS NDC and they take the leadership. NPP bar, they put the same energy without it being political disadvantage. So the engineer and not only for concern. The development in the country, many are being affected. Investors coming into the country, many are being discouraged because of the point or here some of the mepe, Masa, even you could hear some Kurampono, this currency issue. On here, Minata Senadia, the chat at their movie, government say a woman a saying. We need to, as a minor, as a country, we need to really pay attention to any media. Say, engineer Swanu Sisia, that we be doing Pempenswa, engineer Swano, it be a gallant say, because we make us as a ceremony for Yami Pen and I'm the Bayet Maton. The last part, almost take or more interest, you're saying. By no interest, yes, I was out, but it doesn't mean that you will be there and I'll be to media. But said, you to me, I'm so anxious here. For me, you will be a tip of the iceberg.
And I know not, yet to me, I'm so dear, a tip of the iceberg. Sabre, minim alternative be a war. I bet to me, I can say, we na. I feel the young fan cost of over consensus because I shall say in the 19 Choboya, Betty Sabria, I can say, de baby, military intervention, political intervention, religious intervention. As I said, Dr. Cabo Quasamukra, because I am finding one of the festivals of Christ, a baby drew a besan swaba. because ya ye de be bia nti na ne yesu sa ne say nya military base kura no a yentumi nya national monument bi ewo ho bibia ma any of the factions no claim ownership of the land na nkofa asemoma
Kwame enka nyawo Canadian enka ne points one ba madwin kaka metro won say number 1 won say Ghana Papaye say bibia be bibia no say politics wo. Until there has to be a deliberate political will, say, either the 2 or the 3 major political parties in this country, have to come to consensus and agreement, say, no political advantage or disadvantage. But at the end of the day, let's come to a good rule, say, because of interim money, say, this is the direction I ever take here. Okay, because of this, this national development. And at the same time, as a government, we share the development that goes on in Boko area now. The development from. So I also think that as a political will, one of these parties have to take the special lead and say, okay, let's begin to turn attention to Boko and also recruit more development with some of these lands here, equity conflict, to generate employment, to generate housing, to generate social amenities that a bit near for the community. So you're moving in that direction now, family number one. But there has to be a deliberate consensus of NPP, NDC, CPP, whichever the leading political parties, this is the direction that as a nation, not as an individual political party, but as a nation, this is the direction that we want to take. Then or being using as a political advantage or disadvantage, because that is the major fear that the political parties go through in this country. Obedience was a meaningful taking lead, it will become a political advantage or disadvantage, which is not helping the development of the country. And say, consensus, not so many for say, okay, for the next 2 to 3 years or the next 6 years, this is going to be the major development that a baby or baby was to be on the bar. They should continue with the development, to actually once and for all stop the conflict. Then come this will well. Now say, now say, even near Papa Yenikono and from Fasodiempo and the people in the community or him for now. Then we are not really making a positive move.
A piece of that's what I know, brain. Franklin Leonard, a security analyst, and yet in a bonkomo, a faboko, and sensimi.
And you might inform a Juma of Water River Authority and a Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NETCO. Ewo tamale na omuchese say wo field enkonko ye adwuma biem na nenti ombuafo monko field enko ye adwuma ne say wo nuanu bi ekoye say wo kwakọ ye adwuma koye na maburu bi ekoto hye wo so ebro wo say frumfram na omuchese saa ensemi esi na no ebenada July boso na ne to so aduasa bra na VRA ene NETCO nwumayefo wo akọ field akọ ye adwuma wie na wo to wo ka mu no wo esa ba wo adwuma mu na bra Yera William Asare a senior staff was a chairman at a VRA NETCO and Kono Ano Tamale and editu Jache mu say bra workers no wo to wo ka nu no na saa mabunu no ekopie wo eso na wo ka kire wo say wo nyina wo gina na wo twe wo nyina Africa num ene ne ni okuta konti ba ekita ni okuta ba poriwa ekita ene wo de ebro wo a de bi hwehwe cars num papa nhwehwe ene ade ena afi wo esan esesa wo edo wo ekọ gbukwen na ahimfie na no odi to dwache mu sesesei enwumayefo no wo musuro wo nkwa fear and panic are setting in enti wo musuro papa enti wo mpese wo ba bedru office ya wo betu car se bia ye kọ ahase akọ fixe we anase ye kọ ye bibi wo nkọ wo betra mo office wo no mo a enti eno so no wo chese VRA empanyifo ene NETCO empanyifo efo wo so pa kopem bra wo behu sa fe de fo mo adwo enti wo be field akọ ye adwuma.
Somebody the VRA office no Gugunachi Palace. If you go some part of town now, the palace one over straight to our yard. The car need to one and maybe to show also. Omuyi driver ni see form in Conti Bania. They did bomb 9 no mabeti. No magic car ni kilo no more to Akosichi Palace. Another car being Uber. No matter stop on a driver no. Ajiki na Akosichi Palace. Sa ye car ni sa. No move here. The drivers no. Any staff from who? Ajiki car no Akosichi Palace. In the
the Fed Ghana police and a mobile guide officer. Indeed, I did try to pay and a staff here. And the first time, family Nobu attack officer and a mobile staff. Staff said, Yabre, young carbon, because you call mobile at the car. In the Jumato, and the actual car, I recommend Juman because the Jumato, young carbon,
ni a woti yi Volta River Authority wo senior staff our side chairman eda nwumafo enkabomuku no ano Tamale Ira William Asare na no esi ye na opanyo ne kasa ema asoya ohwe nyinamonde ensem eso Richmond Roxen Esquire wono so ni two piece kasebo enim se wo msere adehia Watermale ne mpotem musa adwebre obi amana kuma emra fom e wo mse viare ene nedko nwumafo no wo mso omunya adwuma biodie nanso osere wo moma akoma emra fom kra na wo mo behwe se wo de nhihye ebegu akwamu na se sia yi osoafo na hweja hoodensem so no ogina home kakra wa hoji ahomigiem nanso omai foto samfo Ira atofo se no ene hwe kire ese jahoden esoafo wo mo behwe na wo mo de akwakoto nanim na anamontuo bi esefata bia no wo motu e de afa ho.
Unfortunate security issues in VRA staff, any NEDCO staff no legitimate juma no say almost suspended. Now as a ministry no as a way by attention call for calm say stakeholders, residents, any senior staff in no adribro be ambra from na ministry no yen shred na NCC asem no minister ankasa eniha Minister call leave kakra short leave no be resume juma Monday na supervising minister minister new or share energy ministry so honorable Dr. to force and finance minister immediately no man full briefing man that near na engage stakeholders na substantive minister be resume Monday over Monday sa same way na no consensus obia no be share say ministry no led by the minister no ABCC same way na
we opinion ne kasa ema asoya ohwe nyina mohoden ensem so Richmond Roxen Esquire Clinton akosia mwako ene bo ansem ya no ba
Executive Secretary at the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana COPEC Eyura Duncan Amwa na wakasa ediafa enkoma ekoso fango buo na na wachemu se eyenokre fuel buo empoma ase yebia se bo no ankosoro a eba fom no o se na August bosum ya yewura mu yi eyadan ya fuel bo mpoma no ebebie na yebie ya wo hwe mu no okwa mansanjum se ya de obehu ne se fango bo eswate awa mansanjum eba no petrol eswate ohamu nchechemu hwe ekire eduosiankron 0.69% diesel enso kwa mansanjum eswate ohamu nchechemu hwe ekire hwe baako 0.01% ena LPG liquefied petroleum gas no eno so eswate ohamu nchechemu baako ekire eduosiankron 1.69%. Nan wochemu se wo musa mansanjum fuel ebo so atede na nso enya de benya nsunsanso ewo sede ye to fuel ewo omanyi emu odin chiremu ba sei
is a form within the period, some 0.069%, less than 1%, and diesel also 0.01% downwards. LPG is also yet and also 1.69% downwards. Until a better thing will be justified. Yes, I have to petrol for this window. Until a general expectation is a bono a better stable rather than the call for say product anymore at this point. Until we don't have any indications. Also, mutumu. Most of the stations a bono Meno Kasa and paying most Jai no more at this time.
Now, and what's the yen or so of foot at the ma a draft one will be our coffee station, a coto fuel.
The national price movement, yes, from across the world. Dodoano are not pointing upwards. Be at the second window for August, and a day, sir, into more speculations, because as I speak with you, crude a bono, amanimoso within the period. And he said, no, it happened an hour who say finished product bono so ebetimi amanimo so in no time, but I don't see says our windowing was a station be epepere no ho sikapenti yes I got to petrol consumers betimi aye ne say omomo omani omaso enko stations na sebe omoto petrol ho no so obi so no de chinchina obetum na obetimi ato another station na onto mo will recommend say exercises are rational choice no.
Ya yatini ni executive secretary the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana COPEC. Oyo Akan kan amwa. Wani ensem tweni yaman ba for sika eyim ena bonkomo yi.
Omen prosi adwumako no ede krata bi ababonte na sa krata yi ena womo echemu se womo timi enya nantiye akwakoje enkoda makomako edu ensia nipa bonifo bi efa womo se womo akoye adwuma na omagisika befu ahwe womo ho no matimi abafie ababehwe ebusua na Accra Regional Police Command no ena womo de sanma ne boye ebabetu dwa womo kyerese enipa womo ye makomako edu ensia emu dumienu eye mema enemu nan eye emma ya womo so se womo nyina eye adehia womo efri Cote d'Ivoire ena afi Burkina Faso na womo kyerese July kita won sabosome ne nda ne to so aduonu enan ena prosifo enya anentie obitia womo nan se abamu abi a wanya fihia edu enson ya womo fra no Chaka Kante wayira ya be ya bosome enkurunie ya na busuafo enhunu no womo kyerese nipa bi ba be fa no so womo de ne eba Ghana na womo de ne eba be football team bi no aba bebobo na wochese bra prosifo ensaka sansemi no ena wo mu 18 so ema Accra Regional Police Command no edi akira kopie mu ewo kasoa ba bi e from top town be fa ba bi e from amanfrom na ho no mko hunu se sa nipa makomako edunsian ye do makwa good dan bi mu sa Chaka Kante yi eka wo ho ebie ama sese prosifo agi wo mu nyina akopepa bi ede wo mu esie na hwemu edika na eba beto odwa ese enkrofo bi a womo ewo adwumako bi ese from Keonet mu ena kyese womo ekọ nkrofo yi enkodan yi ekuromu ena womo hyiawa na womo abukasam odade agu asumu sanse nipa asum ye ede ni epe bibia atenti no onya ate ya wonum so baby owo ne nye baby yede ne kọ ne de ni aburukyire yede no ko Europe pam na kwa akọ ye adwuma ene ne hyebrebesesa na busu ya hyebrebesesa womo fa no no maba abesie ewo kasoa na no ochem se saa enipa yi won enie ye nipa dunson no dunsia no Dembele Mohammed wonya mfishia aduonu ono ye Cote d'Ivoire ni Sawadu Razak ono so nya mfishia aduonu Cote d'Ivoire Olivia Yasei wonya mfishia edu enkono ono so ye Cote d'Ivoire Wilfred Kwako ono so nya mfishia dungotwe ono so ye Cote d'Ivoire Philbe Kwame wonya mfishia aduonu num ono so efre Cote d'Ivoire afi Kante Shama wonya mfishia dunkono ono so Cote d'Ivoire hwa Kwame Lambel wonya mfishia aduonu nan Cote d'Ivoire Kone Musa enya mfishia aduonu nan ono so Cote d'Ivoire Lasnel Kante enya mfishia dungotwe ono so Cote d'Ivoire Sajo Dijala ono so enya mfishia dunkono ono so efri Burkina Abbas Jerel wonya mfishia dunkono Burkina Wadrago Alice wonya mfishia aduonu mienu ono so ye Burkina ni Nyamego Winkode ono so nya mfishia aduonu emienu ono so ye Burkina ni Santa Elodi wonya mfishia aduonu emiensa ono so ye Burkina ni afe Owamba Fatoma wonya mfishia aduonu mienu Burkina ena Chaka Kante wonya mfishia edu enson ono so ye Cote d'Ivoire eni sese ni aprosifo ekama Ghana manyina atene se sa nkode yaje wo mo akope baabi sonko e de amomo a ye do mo akwakoshe Ghana Immigration Service ensa ahobo aguso a na wo motimi ahwe wo mu yi ahwehwe wo mu nansa na ya wo mu nkonsa amoma san akwo mu enchi mpanyufo guso a wo mo eyemu ehwehwemu na sa nipa bonefo a wo mo tesa ade yi echi no wo matimi ache wo mo na asotwe se fata no watimi de ama won na prosi command no fa so de kokobo ama Ghana fo abatan ahwefo ese momamani enkumoma no ho se obi beye advertise adwuma bi apie wa hafa he kosi hia mo nya hwe yie pa ansa na ebia mama no apply say womo ekopa adwuma ye wani beba ho so no we de Ghana ye dom free Cote d'Ivoire na ye dom ba Ghana for no ye tamom ne dom akokose Cote d'Ivoire ebi chesa mama ya hodo pi so ene dom kokosie e dia prosifo say obia wate sa ki unetifo inka se bia womo frefre nkrofo womo fa nkrofo de womo akoba bi so womo kwa ye adwuma de nsamode ene kasade ka gu womo asum se o mokwa asa ene se ye de mukọ Europe ye de mukọ Germany ene ho kro de ba no bomodi a se obeba aprosifo enche no obeyi womo asutiri kratai Era Juliana Oben superintendent ono eneda public affairs ano e wo me prosi adwuma kon Greater Accra Regional Police Command nano nensa ene hye ase
na waye na no dwumadie bi e wo enkan ha asa dwumadie yi Ghana Civil Society Organizations Coalition on Migration ena wo mhyehyeye de sanse so nko anantenti wo ne JIZ Gaze ene jama aban ene kabachiri mu a wo mhyehyeye asa dwumadie yi na dwumadie yi ni trimupo ene se oba Africa bibremu ase yi a ye wo de afa na African Union's Free Movement of Persons Protocol Brofinche mu ne se eyenhyeye bia bibremu aman aye e de abokwan ato wo se obi eye Africa ni se bia Ghana ni na se bi opese otu kwan ekọ ebibrem oman bi so a empampim ni osi akwan bia ni ho de ohia ni sika odi beta ne plane ticket so ka no obefu so onfo ka so obefa kodo na akọ enu onu anasemwa enko ba se obi free ebibrem oman bi so ekọ man fofra eye Africa asei nanso so no ho befo kire no ho ama ne ni aye ne yaya ensese ekro ya mu makwan magana ni bia na se Africa ni bia tumi ekọ Africa man bia so free wo mre anwo hare so no esan so bokwan ma se wo bi epese okodidwa ewo Africa o man foforo so a otumi kọ wo bi pese wo free ni mamu ewo Africa asei ekọ Africa o man foforo so ekodi pa South African Union's Free Movement of Persons Protocol yi makwan egitum ehudwumedie enom de nanu ediye no na wadwumedie yase ana Professor Leander Kandiligi or immigration expert at University of Ghana Legon wakasa wase no se sanji seye eyense seye pa anko mo hwe se Africa amanyina obi ade ne hu bagim na brano ensachaye bi ebeba samra we mu no wo mankro na ye ne se de se na fata na aboa amane manfo tumi atutu kwan akọ ebibrem wo man awodo aso akwa akodi dwa na so makodi pa na nso so wo ya amanye wo Africa aseyi a emu 9 pe 4 ena sanse seye yi wo ma ye nsiesie esefata ewo mu a atumi ma wo ma de se atumi kọ ebibrem o man bia so ekodi pa na okodi dwa na aman enan no awrawo sep ne se Ghana enka ho wo se wo mu se 2018 ene ade ensa kwose asa protocol hyehyeye yase nanso so ebraso se ye yensa kyereye ewom ensa kyereye na wo se ye ewom no ye nyamfa nko parliament emamra se bejafo endi ho nkomo enji ntu nwuma oman no emfa ne nsansa asenti ebema Ghana ni di se bi pese okọ Africa wo man bi so a sansi se ye eho benefit broni beka ne nsan ka bi ne senti enode to ebibre mama nyina anim senke be ya obi amamoden na emra yi ananse se ye emu siesi enu a wo mo hwe no wo monye na aboa ma Africa ebibre ma de se etumi atututu kwan wo ye ho edidwa eho masem amanya wo mo ba adwumede yase Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, and Kenya, South Africa, and Yamahudu Akade, woman to me, and my name, Virtua, woman here with TV.
So there's a coalition of civil society organizations on migration in Ghana, and this is an initiative that has been supported by GIZ on behalf of the German government. And the rationale is to try and then encourage African member states to ratify the Free Movement Protocol. We need 15 countries to ratify for the protocol to come into force. At the moment, we only have 4 ratifications. So this workshop is supposed to build the capacity of civil society organizations so that they can go and lobby their governments in the different countries to encourage them to ratify. Ghana has signed, but we haven't ratified. So internally, we are doing our bit to try and encourage the current government to ratify the protocol. But so are we also attempting in Nigeria, in Gambia, in South Africa, and other countries that haven't ratified.
Professor Leander Kandiligi, or immigration expert at University of Ghana, Legon. Sa efutu Kroyana Eric Wache Piasa, National Coordinator, Edema Civil Society Organizations, Coalition on Migration Ghana. Wadema Ghana, Banse Ghana, Banhe. Na said ya was what ye was and she say ye moon one year never wapama. Ghana for to me dija, edipa, ewo a bibrim amaya wodo, eso.
If I saw him here also, okay, EU. I said, I will be on my own idea. I'm on Nemo, African. I said, be a young Kunaman, and see, be a more, bit me the jar, I will interment and will be a quite fine. This means, look at a woman, research, I say, Africa for no. You took a Africa country more than say they call America and Europe. If I want dozen, see a bubble one, a bit number. This remittance, I can say, I'm an I can say, I'm Africa, and Tina, and say, can boom.
Eric, what's it, Piazza, National Coordinator at the Civil Society Organizations Coalition on Migration Ghana. Naomi or Benawan and some Chunia, or could me dinner said Diamond Boy, a bye. I was young to take a Sebo piece 104.3 a die home agent Kratoya bar. Ya betwas.
So wakoma ho hyehyɛ and na ebo periperi de broni kan hardware no a e de na se wo ye na se wo yam so atim so e
wo be pack na farmer Martin's liver salt akira kwan entem ahwie nsu agu glass mo ate Martin's liver salt no ba kwa no na wo de agum
wo be hu se ehuru wa glass ni mu na wa nom Martin's liver salt ye won orange flavor and ba ko so ye plain
wonu mu a ho beto na mum edi na anu na ho nto wo a ko hu doctor.
Tune it in, turn it up,
Peace FM,
and rip off the knob.
Abusia kasia bono esia kenkan fo awia wote yenka me mame biama kwa fo mene
ohene na kwame amo
yemfa sede ne kabiama MTN or see we dey for you everywhere you go. MTN say efuna ba na yedie enti bomodi ansa obeswihye na wodi akọ MTN isim no esubi esanse ezedie enoa na eko ai download my MTN app no na it goes seamless eneya entwen sa wogi chena ne han moto wonye edi MTN say menkamfo emfa ema isim no de unya fe na wo kopese mana kwa nse huntem dabi unya download my MTN app no na chese we go seamless awodem yopo wo number no a ene beko ede amawo we dey for you everywhere you go. African Queen Mackerel so enihwe abusuya se wote se enkrofo eka mackerel asema enye mackerel bia ne mackerel mackerel a yetimi twe atre ede to so esese di say ice cream oboa African Queen Mackerel said any taste in it no fritete yakato amre so sa na tie ensesa ye enye hwe edi se wo Ghana ha na se wonwe African Queen Mackerel dade na ne unim ade de wontuam ewo yimu ankasa papa ewo njansim wo bari mackerel wiare na mo se wontimi nwe African Queen Mackerel dia na je se menua unhu so you don't know what's up. Etimisewa kopebi edien na woye froye ben enkwan ben jollof anase dien na woye for Africa Queen Mackerel for bi wono wate na enye dide kama pa twawanum ankasa twawanum keke mesewa ko oba pastor opposite omane fire service de di ehwe mu ye opposite eti ko ba pastor ubenya doso pomu atu na okwa akoton se so di kofia koguo na oni abusuafo modi ni kakra ni nyina eye obetimi afre won 0245 326 180 0245 326 180 and 0302 668 357 0302 668 357. Yeah, what this way chocolate drink a radio here a social you make roma and wo boy chidom me de kasebono eba yada mu nyina se amamumu anything.
Tune it in.